Hello there, and welcome back to this week's podcast, Pep Talk. Today, I'm taking my own advice and tackling a topic that might surprise you. And we're talking about summits and bundles, those mega events promising really large email growth. But here's the thing, most of them suck, right? So 95% of you get emails, but you're getting emails that are the wrong kind. So think of like givemefreestuff@gmail.com. Like you need quality, not quantity. So here's the key. In this week's episode, we're talking about how to make these work for you, including summits and bundles that are gold, right? Including how to micro niche down, which is the topic that we've talked about all the time, and a strategy behind the scenes to make them work for you. So we're going to break down the right way to use summits and bundles and attract the right people to build lasting relationships. Plus, stay tuned to the end because I'm going to share a case study revealing a 700% increase in revenue using this anti-social strategy. If you're intrigued, stick around and learn how to ditch summits and bundles that don't work and build a thriving business with a strategy that does. And P.S., if you've been disappointed in some of these, I would love to know what is working for you now, what is not, and let's dig deeper. Welcome back to this week's Pep Talk. And I feel like today's topic is a little spicy, which I'm actually really excited to get into. And if I'm being honest, I went back and forth about the title like 7 times. But I want to talk about why summits and bundles aren't always the answer to growth that you are searching for. Now, this is a polarizing topic, so I get it. But I want to sort of backtrack a little bit and revisit some of the questions that I get as we've been hosting Ditch the Social Drama Live, which was a live workshop that we did the last couple of weeks. And as we're opening the doors to Anti-Social School, which is our 8-week program, which helps you come up with a custom marketing strategy to attract the right leads and then turn those leads into sales. And so I'm sort of taking my own advice because inside Anti-Social School, I talk about these micro topics and topics that are going to make a difference. And I feel like I know if you listen to this episode and you can hear the passion in my voice, that this is a topic that you're going to want to pay attention to. And so I want to get into the nitty gritty details of summits and bundles. So before we get into my maybe unpopular opinion of why I think they don't work as much as people say they do, is here's what I see happening in the online space. You want to grow your email list. That is a proven tactic for making an impact, for making money. Email is having like a ginormous comeback. We talk about it all the time here. It's very, very, very powerful. If you don't have an email list, you basically don't have a business. So that's topic number 1, but you should have an email list. And most say on average for every email subscriber, it's about $1 in revenue per month on average. So if you have 100 subscribers, that's about $100 a month. If you have 10,000 subscribers, that's about $10,000 a month, right? So you can kind of see, and this is revenue, right? So you can kind of see like where the power of email comes in. And so the nice thing is as you build your list, your revenue becomes predictable. We talk about things like this, like funnel and passive income and all the things. And so it makes sense that people like you and I have built businesses on, hey, let's host a summit. Let's help a bundle. Let's help each other grow our email list. So the concept of summits and bundles, I love, right? And anytime you can provide lots of value for free, or in some you will pay, right, to get a lot of resources and get people on your list and nurture them and form relationships, great. But here's where it goes awry. So let me start with the first unpopular opinion, and that is not all summits and bundles are created equal. Now, I would say 95% of them will get people on your email list, right? So if you submit something free or paid to a summit or a bundle, then people opt in and then they opt into your thing, they get on your email list. But most of these people are not the right people. And so insert what I see when we enter summits and bundles, which is getting to point number 2. Yes, I use them, but we're going to use them differently. is I get emails like give me free stuff at gmail.com or freebie email at yahoo.com. Like I could literally show you 100 emails like this. So for me, it gets frustrating because it's like, I think what I share is really, really valuable. I'm giving it away for free and I'm attracting freebie seekers onto my list, which goes back to this formula of like, well, if I have 1,000 freebie seekers, I'm not going to make $1,000 in revenue. So my first unpopular opinion is not all summits and bundles are created equal, but I will say with like a little asterisk, there are a handful that do work. So if you want to use summits and bundles as a tool, let's talk about what makes a good summit or bundle. So the first example is you want to find a host that is doing it with intention and they are super micro niche down. Like this is a topic that I am not going to give up talking about because it works and it is helpful, right? So an example is Gemma Barnum Carter. She's actually going to be on the podcast here soon. And she hosted a summit this summer. So a summit is live speaking that focused specifically on how to use AI to make sales in your business. Like it was so freaking focused and it was so good, right? Now, it doesn't mean that we didn't get like a couple freebie email at yahoo.com, but for the most part, it was very, very valuable. It was super niche down and there were real people like you and I who opted in, who were looking for support, right? That's what you want. So that is a really great example. Another great example of a bundle. So the first example was a summit. A bundle that works is my friend Allison Hardy, who has been on the podcast a couple of times. And she hosts bundles 2 to 3 times a year. Now, the difference is they are super, super focused, right? Like how to be successful in your next launch, how to build your email list in an hour a day, right? Like they're so, so, so focused, which is going to attract more of the right people. So we're not going to get into summits and bundles of like, let's be a boss babe. And there's 150 things that people can choose from. It's super unorganized and you just get a bunch of crap on your email list. There should be a difference. So not all summits and bundles are created equal. Yes, the strategy works, but we got to make sure that we're picking the right ones and we're doing it very strategically, right? I mean, that's the whole theme of this whole podcast. Like I want you to think with intention. And so as we have chatted about in the last couple of episodes, it's the quality of the people on your list. They are real people that count. It's not the big number. So number 2 is let's pretend you opt into a really amazing summit or bundle and people get on your list, right? But just because you have hundreds of people coming from these things doesn't mean they're all going to magically purpose. And so there needs to be a strategy behind getting summits and bundles to work for you. I have had so many clients inside Anti-Social School or inside our mastermind tell me, Holly, I want to be part of this bundle. They get people on their email list and then nothing happens because you actually have to create things behind the scenes to help nurture people that come onto your list. And you have to do it a little bit differently for people that are opting into 17 things at one time, right? So number 1, we need to make sure that we're choosing the right summit and bundle. But number 2, let's really think about what happens when these people come into your world. I say that a lot, but I want you to think of it from, hey, I just joined this summit about AI. We'll use that example. I downloaded 50 free things. Like, how are you going to stand out as the one email that person reads out of 50 other people, right? So you need to create a client attraction journey that supports them and you for this growth option to work. So when they click submit on that free thing, what is your first interaction with you? So they click commit with like a coupon code or whatever. Then what happens? So in this scenario, I recommend a custom thank you page with a video. Yes, you have to create something, but guess what? They just did this 10 other times and probably didn't get this because most people won't do it. And now you're standing out. Now you're like, oh man, this lady really put some thought into this. Like, I want to know more about what she does, right? So step 2 is now they've seen you, they've heard you, they know that you're serious, and now you need to have a relationship funnel. But here's the thing. This could be a funnel that you already have, right? But what we have found is the most successful is to create a summit or bundle funnel, right? So you could copy the ones that you already have and make it different because they're opting into so many free things at one time. So the first email that you get in our summit or bundle is like, here's your thing. You've seen the video, right? But the second email is, I know you just downloaded 27 free things. Here's why you should open this. Because I know the reaction and the behavior that people who are coming into these things are doing. And so now, from a profit perspective, they've already seen my thank you page. Now they're like, oh man, this is different, right? Like she's talking to me like I'm a real person. And maybe there's a paid product you have, maybe you have a tripwire, but you're treating it different. And so this is why all summits and bundles are not created equal. And unless you have a growth strategy behind the scenes, you're probably not going to see that great of results. And so I want you to just pause here and think about how you would feel if you opted into something free with 17 other free things. And then all of a sudden you got an email that said exactly what you were doing and why you were doing it and how this one thing is actually going to help fix the problem that you had, right? And you're like, oh, I got to pay attention. And then they don't unsubscribe and they stay on your list. And this is where you can start making it work for you. And so I hope you can see how different this is because there's some thought that is behind it, right? I was talking to my mom the other day about, I don't even remember the topic. And I felt like the parent because I was like, Mom, nothing is for free. Like she wanted to purchase something and it was like, oh, but you get all these things for free. And I'm like, no, like you don't get anything for free. There's nothing for free. But if you can really think about a way that you can nurture somebody and talk to them and create a relationship, right? Then you opting into this free summit or bundle will actually work for you because you're doing it differently. So I know on these shorty episodes, we get right to the point, but if you are tired of doing all the things to grow your email list and not seeing the results, I would think about these steps. Number one, what content are you sharing that is focused on the micro topics? We've talked about this so much in the last couple of weeks. So you can go back and listen to the previous episodes. Number two, how are you using systems behind the scenes to fill your funnel? It doesn't have to be trading time for money, but it does need to focus on relationships. And you do, in this season of business that we're in, need to think about doing it differently. So I'm going to end this discussion where we started, right? So if you remember at the beginning of the podcast, I was talking about for every one subscriber, you can be expected to bring in about $1 a month in revenue. With this method, right? So this is just one method, one process in our antisocial strategy. You can actually increase this by 700%. So I actually did this case study on my own business, but in simpler terms, let's say you have 1,000 people on your email list and you do what everyone else says and you join all these summits and bundles and like occasionally you get a sale, but it's not really the thing. You get about $1,000 a month in revenue because you have 1,000 people on your list. When you use our antisocial model, right, and you combine this with other systems we teach and our content repurposing plan that we teach and our networking plan that we teach and our relationship model that we teach, it turns that 1,000-person list into $7,780 per month. I told you I did this case study on our own business. So to me, this is worth it, right? Like to me, it is worth learning a different way because you're going to stand out. And so inside Antisocial School, I teach you this exact strategy step, including how to make summits and bundles work for you, plus 20 other ways that you can learn to scale. Enrollment is currently open. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. It's going to save you energy, and it's going to help you attract the right leads, right? You can have a small, impactful, powerful list and turn those leads into clients at hollymariehaynes.com/antisocial. So obviously, I would love for you to join us inside Antisocial School, but also I'm really curious if this episode resonated with you. Have you been in summits and bundles before? What are you seeing in terms of results? I'm obviously basing this on what I've seen and what my clients have seen, but I want to hear your story. So shoot me a DM, let's chat, and I can't wait to talk with you next week.